Oh, hello. Welcome to my space. Alright, so first one is, this is a rusty Trackmasters train. It's made by Mattel. So it's got motorized wheels. Remember, we talk about motorized, tires are important. So these tires are intact. This one, eyebrows are intact as well. When I first started selling Thomas trains, I just assumed every train was $5 and maybe $10. And I look back at some of my old Facebook Marketplace listings and I was letting these trains go for like $10. And only later, as I started selling more of it, did I realize that these are worth a lot more than $10. This and the carriage and this cart I sold for $55. That's with the best offer. I would have, if I waited a bit longer, $60. But this actually comes with two of these coaches, like that, and they hook on. Conditions on the hooks are important as well, because what happens is if the hooks are opened up, when they go up or down, up or down the track, it comes off. So this one, as you can see, there's a bit of a snap-on off, like that. So even though this wasn't complete, color matching a cart with some cargo, and this stuff comes off. $55. Also, these are level. They do come in different heights. They do come in different heights. Some people like it to be one short, one tall. But once again, it's toys, right? How you like seeing your cargo is really up to you. So that's not so important. But you'll see some with alternating heights. There's no right or wrong. It's toys, and I think that if you take the there's no right or wrong with toys and then you just mash it all together, the nuance of that fit of what you present in a lot, because these items can all be sold individually. This for $10, this for 20, this for 40. Put it all together, it's 55. You make less, but then you sell it quicker. If it matches and it fits within the visual of the use case, where people look at it and they go, yeah, it makes sense, or the functionality makes sense, then you become a go-to store. And that's the differentiating factor between you becoming a go-to store and an expert. You don't have to call yourself an expert. People just come to you because they think that you know what you're doing, versus an online op shop where it feels like you picked up a couple of bags of toys and you just lumped all the trains together, all the people together, all the animals together, without any rhyme or reason. And as you know, the more specialized your store is and your curation is, the higher price you'll get, because people who appreciate that pay up for that. Something as simple as My Little Ponies. I sell a couple of My Little Ponies as well, and I've seen lots that are specific to a range of My Little Ponies, and they get sold for much more than lots that are just a bunch of generic My Little Ponies, and then a lot of just ponies, where there's a mix of official and unofficial stock. In which case, then we're talking $2 a pony in those lots versus specific to a range of My Little Ponies, between 10 and $20 each, even in the bulk lot. Yeah, something as simple as, so you'll see all the colors are red. You'll see there's a tying of orange into orange and yellow and then red, but also the roofs are black. So if I had to pick another item to go with this, I would have picked something with either red or black so that the color matches quite nicely. This buyer as well, this buyer, I remember them because when they bought from me, their last name was the same as one of my clients from when I was a mortgage broker. So that's 4 years ago now. So they've been buying from me for 4 years. And I specifically remember I had listed a train individually, and then they wanted the coaches that came with it. And at that time, I was still learning the category. And I remember him sending me a photo of it. I started looking for it. And then I realized that I had it, and I redid the listing for them. And then I also added a couple of spare carriages for free. And they always remember that because he made it in time for Christmas, and they've been coming back ever since. Which goes to show, when you're small, I see so many resellers who don't want to put in the work. Like, they don't want, and I don't mean they don't want to work, not laziness, but it's like there's this imaginary threshold of effort that they feel that if they go above it, it's not worth their while, or it's a waste of time, or it's unnecessary. Just bear in mind, investments are such that you put in first and get a return later. Sometimes you can't even foresee the return. And for the most part, if you know what the return is going to be, it's going to be a low one. Just think about that for a second. A bank tells you you're going to get 2% on a savings account. It's a known return, it's a consistent return, it's a low return. You invest into something like Bitcoin, there's an unknown return, there's a range of return, but for the most part, it's unknown. And just the nature of being unknown increases its risk, but also increases its potential reward. Likewise, investing in customers is very similar to that. You don't know that you're going to get a return, but you do know that the range of possible returns could be a 4-year-old customer that keeps coming back, paying asking price or close to asking price, in this case, 55 as his best offer on 60. No complaints, no issues, open conversation. Or you could get nothing. But you do it for that possibility. Invest in your customers, especially if you're small. Get used to it, because if you don't get used to it when you're small, you're definitely not gonna come around to it when you're busier and overwhelmed and doing more admin tasks. At the moment, you're documenting things on spreadsheets. It's a couple of lines every other day. At the moment, you don't have much of a tax obligation if you're small. But once you get bigger, you're lodging, quarterly, well, in our case, BASes. But I'm sure I think in the States it'll be like sales tax, right? Quarterly, monthly, whatever it is that you pay to the government. Those things take up time, capacity. Those things don't put you in a mindset place to be creative. If anything, they put you in a mindset place to be more autopilot. And so, whilst you've got, I guess, open air to be creative and to think about how you can improve your business, consider investing in your customers and going that extra mile and removing that arbitrary, imaginary threshold above which you feel effort is unnecessary. Just give it your all. Come to think of it, when I was talking about the Discord community that we're building with the team, they were talking about at what point is it worth it or not worth it to build? And I just said to them, I don't really have a worth it number. I don't have a minimum number of subscribers that I would love to be in our community. I don't have a minimum number of subscriptions that I'd like to see paid. At the moment, it's free. At some point, it will be paid, and it will be a very affordable, low amount, because we want to build upon that, more professional tiers for advanced business use cases. So we're not going to charge you an arm and a leg just to be there. The be there part will be very, very affordable. And I was just saying that the difference to me, the thing I want is momentum, and because if you create a space where people come to work and they don't feel like there's enough energy in the room, they too reflect that energy. We can't help ourselves. Not everybody is a fire starter, and so occasionally you might luck upon a fire starter that comes into a room and is the one that always at the front of the conga line. But for the most part, people turn up to gyms and they reflect the energy in the room. It could be you take the music away, you take away the motivated social media people who are trying to do their proper form for influencer purposes. For the most part, it becomes a very boring, plain gym. But if you go there, you see personal trainers coaching athletes, you see the music's pumping, there's graffiti on the wall that's motivational rather than cheap and ill-fitting. There's bright colors, there's clear windows. It's clean. The air feels fresh, even though it's a sweaty place. Environments matter, and that adds to the energy that then compounds into the desire to do new things. And so when I look at starting any sort of business or starting, whether it be reselling, whether it be a Discord community, whether it be a YouTube channel, it's all about building upon the energy so that the energy pushes you into newer and better things. And the example I gave the team was that because you're working with people, right? Reselling, we're selling to people, YouTube, you're broadcasting to people, educating, building community, building a personal brand. With the Discord community, it's about interactions and actually working together, building business relationships together. People can ask for anything. People can ask for. That's why in offices you have people asking for ice cream machines. If enough people want it, it happens. But nobody ever thinks at the very start of a company, we will eventually have ice cream machines. It's an open question. Similar to a gym, nobody ever thinks we're going to be doing cooking classes. It's nice to have, but if there's enough energy in the room where people want to learn from a professional chef how to cook meals so that they can better their fitness programs, it'll happen. But the energy has to be there for the momentum to shift into that space. So that has nothing to do with how is it worth my time or not. You know, if it gets to that point, it compounds. It's definitely worth your time, and that's the mindset of a business person versus an employee. If you come into reselling with an employee mindset and you're constantly tracking your hourly rate, you actually don't. You're not compelled to invest. That's what I want to get. You're not compelled to invest. Of course, people will say if you spend too much time investing and you don't build your knowledge, and you're not refining your processes, and you're not checking the frame that you're viewing your decisions through, and your perspective doesn't change, then yes, you could potentially be investing into a thing that has no potential to grow because it's not improving. But if you're constantly learning and constantly improving and constantly applying and refining, or in my case, what I say is learning, maximizing, learning, remaximizing, learning, remaximizing, so that we find ourselves bringing this momentum of energy into opportunities that compound our returns. And at that point in time, you will know that the way that you do things, your posture towards investing in your business will pay off. Like there'll be like no doubt about that. It's no longer a case of will I get a return or not. Even if the things you invest in don't give you a return, you'll snap out of it and do it again, because you know that I am the kind of person that eventually gets that kind of return. I'm the kind of person that serves my buyers in such a way that I will get repeat buyers. You're no longer getting thrown off by that one buyer that got angry. You're no longer thrown off by bad feedback. Like you're a good thing. You know what I mean? Like you're a good thing. That's confidence. To me, that's the kind of confidence that I wish for all of you in my community, where you're a good thing and people all agree you're a good thing, and it's not arrogant, and it's not like I'm trying to blow smoke up your ass to make you think that you're a good thing. Fundamentally, because all the fundamentals are there. We know that even if the fundamentals are right, you're going to have wins and losses, but those wins are going to be headwinds. So yeah,